What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning back into the Warrior Metaphysic channel. Um, and if you consider yourself a spiritual warrior, welcome to the Warrior Metaphysic community. So, for this one, we're going to talk about rejection, but we're looking at rejection through the lens of the FBA response to the ICE protests and everything that's been going on. So I'm just going to start by saying, if you hate long intros to these videos, you might want to skip ahead or click off. It's all good. But there are some things I want, need, and feel like I have to say about this topic, because the regular topic was going to be just rejection. It's just one of the areas, one of the things I want to talk about on this channel through looking at some of the nuggets we get from these TikToks. But when I was doing the research, doing the work, I've been looking at a lot of videos about the ICE protests and the Latino response to the Black community and the Black community response to, the Latino community and the response about the protests and everything. And it hit me that foundational Black Americans have chosen to sit on the sidelines because it's a reaction to the rejection that the Black community has received. This is a response to the rejection. And as if I want to call myself a spiritual warrior, the warrior metaphysic, you meet society where it is. You meet the moment where it is. And that means that things are happening in the world, and it's helpful to talk about it, right? There's value in the discussion. There's value in looking at it. And I feel like I would be remiss. I would be doing my channel and myself a disservice by not addressing it, excuse me, not looking at it, and at least trying to insert some healing and understanding about the whole thing from a spiritual, metaphysical, intellectual level, if you will. So that's what this video is about. It's a little bit of a long one, but I feel like it's a very necessary one, because the way I set this up is I kind of set it up intentionally in the way that we're going to look at what Black people have been doing, the help that we feel like we have been giving, the communities we look, the times we look like, or we felt like we have been standing alongside other communities in their fights, right? Then we're going to look at some of the receipts, some of the rejection, some of the responses that we've gotten, and why people are feeling the way they do. And then we're also going to ultimately look at the FBA response to all of this. So let me back up a little bit. I'm still very new, very growing channel. So I can't sit here and say that my channel has an identity yet. These are the people that follow me. I don't know that stuff. I don't know that stuff yet. So that's another reason why I'm just being true to the content that I feel like resonates with me, and then I feel like that will resonate with more people. And I've learned a lot when it comes to just these whole protests since they started. And when it comes to first, I'm just going to start with an explanation of FBA. For those of you who don't know, people who probably do, but I recently had conversations with close friends, family, loved ones. People didn't even know what FBA meant. And I know that term has been around for a while, but it's fairly new in the grand scheme of things, and it's fairly new to a lot of people. So FBA, Foundational Black American, which means that your ancestors were that you are descendants from your ancestors who were held in captivity in chattel slavery in the United States. That's what FBA, Foundation of Black American, is. And I'll just stop it there. I'm not going to get into tethers and the separation of African American versus Black American. You can do all that research. That stuff is out there. Most of you probably already know about this already. But I felt it's necessary because I do want my messages to appeal to a broad audience, a large audience of all nationalities, colors, because messages come in different shapes, packages, different people, different places, from all my walks of life. And that's why I'm not going to say excited about this video, but I felt it was very valuable because we get to look at these messages and how people feel from just different perspectives, right? And sometimes it's challenging. Some of this stuff in some of these videos probably might be triggering. Some of it's hard to hear. Some of it's going to have you like, what? And some of it's going to have you like, okay, I get that. Like I said, this video is long, but if you stay with me on this journey, I think we'll all get something out of it. And these TikToks that I choose are not to say they're the end all be all. It's just, it's a perspective. And you might hear something, somebody might say something in a way that you didn't even think about, or it may make you challenge the way you look at a thing in a different way. And that's all I'm trying to do here, is get you to see something in a different way. Or maybe sometimes it's validation. Sometimes you might feel a certain way and it's helpful. You came across these people online who said that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy. All right. Sometimes validation is good. It doesn't mean that you need agreement from everybody. But it's good to sometimes feel like I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. That definitely is what I find a lot of times. And when I come across a message that triggers me or challenges me, and if it makes me question, I definitely want to put it in because it's a lesson for me, and I'm sure it'll speak to somebody else too in a similar way. But I digress. So I think one of the things I found most disheartening about relations with Mexicans, Mexican Americans, Latino Americans, Black Americans, FBAs was, I'm gonna have to be honest here. Like, I thought we did live in a world where like the Hispanics were on our side, and we can help each other and be there for each other. I didn't realize that the community was as racist towards Black people as apparently they are, or people feel like they are. And I'm not making a generalization here about any group of people. I know that there are good people and not so great people across every spectrum, every color, every culture. You got your shit people and you got your wonderful people and everybody in between. All right. That being said, we have to look at each other's lived experience. And so if you want to think back to like the BLM protest and all that, and you saw Latinos out there marching with us, but then you learn that, well, they were out there to showboat and get this result, right? And I'm just citing examples, and you will see these things being spoken to as we go through these videos. Like, there's always a hidden agenda. It's not just that we're out here fighting for you or fighting with you because we want real change for the community. It's what can we get out of it? And Blacks have always felt like we're on the front lines by ourselves and no one's coming to save us. And you haven't been coming to save us. So we're learning our value now. We're looking at the lay of the land for what it truly is, and we're not tricking ourselves anymore to thinking that other creeds and cultures have our back or have our best interest at heart. That is the response that you're getting. And it is a response to rejection. Because you put yourself out there on the line, you think people have your back, only to learn that they don't. Or they were just kind of fair weather friend. They were standing alongside you in this fight so they can get this result over here, or to hitch their carriage to your horse so they can get to whatever destination. I'm not saying that's my thought about it. I'm saying this is what black people are feeling and why. And we can talk about the whole, some people feel like it was because of the election. Like, we wanted to put Kamala in office and whatever, and y'all didn't listen. So now you're getting what Trump gives you. Like, some people feel like that's why they're sitting on the sidelines. Some people are looking at cultural relations, race relations, colorism on a grand scale and through the lens of history, and be like, and are recounting their life experiences, what they witnessed, what they've seen from all the battles that we fought over the years, and saying, you know what, we're tired. We're sitting this out. We're entering into a period of self-preservation. So what you have here is rejection through two lenses. You have the FBA response to being rejected by pretty much everyone else. And then you have the mere act of sitting this out, sitting on the sidelines, minding your black business, is a rejection as well. It's a rejection to the noise. It's a rejection to the nonsense. It's a rejection to the past hurts. So I said all this to just kind of give you a lay of the land and offer you, when you look at these TikToks and these videos that we'll be reacting to, look at it through the lens of, like I said, we're going to take a kind of a historical perspective, if you will, of what has been the lay of the land. What have we been doing? And showing the receipts about why people have chosen to sit it out now. And the FBA response to that. And in the spirit of looking at rejection from a metaphysical lens, I sprinkle some of those videos in there too, because some of these get really challenging. So I felt like it was good to sprinkle some of the positive, enlightening, centering stuff throughout these, so that it doesn't get too far off the rails. So like I said, as a warrior, as an FBA, I felt I would be remiss by not just diving into the subject and looking at it from this lens. So we'll go ahead and just dive into these videos, people, and I will be offering commentary in some of them, and we'll take it from there. So let's get started.
You have said that you resent the idea of being called an African American, that
Yes.
you are a Black American.
Yes.
Explain.
I think that when they call Black people who were born and raised for generations in this country, if you accept the handle of African American, that says that you don't accept being an American American. You don't accept being born in Chicago or New York or Detroit or wherever you were born. For generations, your family has been here, built this country too. Sweat and tears and all that, fought in every war, okay? So this is my country here. So I don't want to be called African American. I'm an American American. My people have died and done everything for this country.
Why are Black people leading these protests? Let me explain this in a way history already has. I got a comment asking why Black folks seem quiet during these protests. Let's be clear. We are not sitting this out. We are sitting in wisdom because we've been protesting since Selma, since Watts, since the first time someone said hands up. We've marched, we've voted, we've bled, and some of us never came back. And now, some of y'all are just waking up because your rights are being rolled back. But ours have been fragile since the beginning. So no, we're not rushing to the front lines right now. And it's not apathy, it's strategy, it's exhaustion, it's survival. This administration would love to call a protest an uprising, especially if it's full of Black and brown bodies. They love to enact martial law, to paint us as threats, and we're not giving them that photo op. So we're behind the scenes, we're building networks, we're donating, we're watching, we're praying, we're protecting. We've already warned the world. If they didn't believe us then, maybe they'll believe what they're living now. Because Black people don't owe this country another body on the front line. We've been warning about injustice. We've been the canary in the coal mine. And when it finally blew up for everyone else, we're still the ones getting blamed for not doing enough. Sometimes resistance looks like a march. Sometimes it looks like knowing when not to. New page, same voice. Come find me here as well.
Shout out to Smart Brown Girl 1216 for those nuggets. And like I said, these first two videos, it's going to be just that, telling about what has been, just to get a sense of what we've been doing. How did we end up with the attitude of minding your Black business today. So let's get into it.
The last few days, there has been this conversation online in where some Latinos are upset that there are some Black folk that are not going out to protest. I'm going to hold your hand while I say this, and I ask you to please keep an open mind. If you're Latino and you're upset that you believe that there aren't Black people out there protesting in support of the Latino and undocumented community, you need to shut up because you're wrong and you're pretty much biased. Because the reality is that, yes, there are some Black people out there protesting together with Latinos. So I don't know why you're so focused on some people online saying that they're not going to go out there. When in reality, you got to remember that it was a majority of members of our own community that voted to elect the fool that's in presidency right now. And that the majority of Black folk were against the current president right now. And that was reflected in the election polls. So instead of believing this narrative that seems to be existing online, go out there in the street and you'll see that there are Black people protesting with Latinos. So either you need probably more Black friends or to be around more Black people to realize that yes, they are out there and that there are current Black folks showing their support. You need to understand that Latinos are not a monolith, Black folk are not a monolith, and putting this expectation on another group when members of our own group are the ops. Understand that a lot of the movements we see today, Black folk organizing, have been the template for that. And do not ever forget that the 14th Amendment that gives us, the children of immigrants, the right to be U.S. citizens by being born here on U.S. soil is thanks to Black people who have advocated, who have protested to be treated like U.S. citizens in a country that did not see them as such during its foundation.
I was on TikTok scrolling right while I was...
Sorry, we'll go back to that. One thing I wanted to say too, I meant to say this in the beginning, but I forgot. So, no matter where you sit on the playing field in this whole life, in this whole experience we're having right now, amidst these protests and everything, I invite you to look at it through a lens of literally like we're on the field, wherever you are on the field. Try to look at this journey through these videos as just that, a journey. Like we're looking at what has been. Then we're going to look at the receipts and why Black people are feeling the way they do because of XYZ. And ultimately, like I said, the Black response. So whether you're Latino, Cuban, FBA, white, Asian, gay, straight, religious, not spiritual, not gangster, whatever. look at it as where you play in this whole experience. Think about your life experience, the personal interactions you've had with people, as well as the cultural and global experience. Because when it comes to healing this rejection, when it comes to this FBA response to the rejection, you have to realize that it comes from what we experience directly with the people around us, what we see in the community around us. And then we're so tapped into social media and media that there's the whole collective consciousness, the collective energetic field in the universe where we're being exposed to racism or rejection or ideas that we probably would not be exposed to directly ever, but you still feel it because it's happening in your world. And one thing I love that Iyanla says is if it's in the chair, it's in the room. If it's happening in the world, this is me saying it, and you're seeing it, it's happening in the room. Because we experience all this stuff that we see inside of us. So when I talk about the FBA's response to rejection is this self-preservation. There's some healing that's going to come along with that. And there are going to be people on the other end, Latino, Mexican, whomever, that look at this and they're going to be triggered by it. You're going to be triggered by it. So it's about reflecting in and looking at, okay, this affected me, how, whatever, why, boom, clearing that stuff out and understanding how you're clearing it on a personal level as well as a global community societal level. Because if this whole thing isn't proof that we live in an energetic world and energies are getting more powerful every day, because there's a collective conscience among most FBAs that said, boom, we're not sending this out. No, there was not some global town hall that was held. There was no secret hangout meeting online somewhere. People got the message because people are feeling it. This is what people are vibrating. And we're able to relate to each other on an energetic level. And that's how the healing is going to come. But we don't start the healing until we sit down and look at the opposing views. Got to look at all this ugly, all this funkiness before we can even begin to even try to understand and heal a thing. So like I say, I go back to wherever you sit on the field, just try to look at through the lens of your life experience and try to start seeing the other person's perspective. Like take yourself out of you for a minute, wherever you sit. Whether you're FBA, whether you're Chinese, whether you're Spanish, whatever. And try to look at it, just remove the internal stuff you got going on and just try to see it from a different perspective. That's why I offer this video. I know it's long as hell. I didn't want to cut any of it because I felt like the many messages were valid. And the more voices we hear, the more a message gets to resonate with somebody who it may not otherwise resonate with. So I'm sorry for this long pause, but I think if you look at the video through that lens, through the lens of yourself and in the lens of energetic class consciousness, you'll probably get a lot more out of this and kind of maybe better understand where I was trying to go with the whole thing.
Its foundation.
I was on TikTok scrolling right while I was eating my food, and I'm so glad that a lot of Black people are starting to wake up from this whole Black and Brown coalition. Yes, are there a few Hispanics that are cool, genuinely cool Mexicans with Black people? Sure. But for the majority, y'all don't really fool with us like that. Let's really keep it a bean. Y'all want to be honorary whites so bad But then when y'all start getting gaffled up, now all of a sudden, black people, we all, we all are oppressed by the white man. No, when you go to prison, y'all side with them. In the workforce, y'all side with them. On your IDs, you classify yourself as white. Don't know. You'll be all right. And then I keep saying, oh yeah, black people, they gonna get you too. No shade to immigrants, but we're not immigrants. We're from here. This is our home. Where the hell are we going? Our ancestors built this country so your ass can have a better life, can leave your homeland for a better opportunity. And why would I want to help out somebody that's been calling me all types of mayates or whatever it's called, and niggers, and you're lazy, you don't deserve reparations, you're stupid, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Well, let me sit my lazy ass down. Juneteenth is next week, and we're going to have a ball next week. And not sit here and be worried about what the hell you got going on, because why? We're lazy. So y'all be thinking we're stupid and forget, no, we're not doing this whole one-sided relationships no more. And that goes for any group that speak down on black people, especially black Americans. How come y'all don't hit up the Asian communities? Y'all better hit them up. Y'all better hit up the other Hispanic groups. No, because especially the Asians, you know damn well they ain't finna stand up for your ass. Y'all treat black people like the grandma out the family, where everybody just go to grandma's house for the voice of reason and to fight for you, to stand up for you. No, we finna sit out because we're lazy. And a lot of people that don't understand what's going out there in LA or have a idea of the politics that's going on out there, y'all need to be quiet. In real life, them Hispanics out there don't mess with them. Because the moment y'all start being up again, then we all types of lazy motherfuckers and monkeys. It's just so funny that they got all the smoke for us. They ain't got shit to do with it, but you don't have this type of energy for other groups or people that are oppressing y'all. But see, this is where we have to take accountability as black people. We've been the punching bag, the scapegoat for so long, they've become used to it. We got our own damn problems, and when we do have our problems, where the hell do they be at? And celebrities, what the fuck are you speaking up for their issues, but can't speak up for black people getting reparations?
Black people are the most sympathetic and empathetic people in the world. Now, I don't know where it comes from and what's come from my ancestors or whatever, but we are the most forgiving race in the world. Black people, you really got to do something bad to us for us not to forgive you. No doubt about it.
Why are black people saying this?
And see, that's the part I really wanted to point out. There's a humanity in us that people just don't allow themselves to see. There's a humanity that, because the way blacks have been portrayed in the media across the world, because of whatever, just because of the different stereotypes and stuff, that you won't even allow yourself to see the humanity that we have. And it's such a tragedy to the world because, and this is not me trying to absolve anybody of stuff that's happening. Like I said before, every race, every color, every culture has their good quality and low quality people across the spectrum, across the continuum. But when you're talking about humanity and forgiving, you know what it takes to have come out of slavery and still have your heart open to your oppressor, still have your heart open to everyone that doesn't look like you. And not only have that, but teach that and instill that in your kids, in your offspring. I won't dive into it anymore, but what their brother said in the last video was absolutely true. But everyone has their limits.
Our fight making you upset. I've seen video after video from Latino creators or Latino people coming online pleading to black people to put our bodies at the forefront of this fight against illegal ICE raids, against deportation, against roundups, against undocumented people being rounded up and families being disjointed. But there's several reasons as to why you should not be shocked that Black people are sitting this one out. You guys all remember that this is a subset of your community last year. You're also aware that across the board, overwhelmingly Black people voted in favor of the candidate that had Black interests, Latino interests, Asian interests at heart. Where if you look at the sentiments of what that vote represents, half of your community voted for this. Half of your community said F you to Black people. Half of your community said, we don't care about you. Half of your community said you wanted to be white aligning and white adjacent. And now you're being reminded of the fact that you're not. We have to have the ability to hold multiple truths when we speak to each other as communities. The truth is that Latinos are not in a monolith. It's just an all-encompassing umbrella that they put you under. And that, yes, the majority of the people that voted for Donald Trump and were doing that were Cuban and were other people in different parts of the country, and undocumented people in Mexico, in California are being impacted by that. That is true. But what's also true is that there is a history of Black people fighting and being at the forefront of civil rights in this country since the inception of civil rights in this country. And it's always been pushed back in non-solidarity from multiple communities who are voting and always going against Black people. So this particular time when Black women especially really came out in droves and really fought forward with our votes, and you guys didn't do it, your community didn't do it. It's like, why would I fight now? Why would I fight now? So I just need you, like, if you're gonna come online and make pleas and ploys to Black people, because I've seen so many videos, start by acknowledging the fact that your community has colorism, anti-Blackness, and voted against your own best self-interest. Start with that. Don't come in here and ask Black people just to put our bodies at the forefront of the line, because we've been doing that for a century. Secondly, I think the majority of Black people who are saying that they're sitting this one out are using their voice in other ways or having solidarity with you in other ways, but they're not going to protest. They're not going to go get hit by rubber bullets. They're not going to put themselves in harm's way or make that effort again, because you guys, it's time for you to fight for yourself. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for you. Now, there's also a bunch of Black people online who are asking Black people to come out and fight for everyone, and everyone needs to fight, and this is our fight as well. While I do agree with a lot of those sentiments, because if they're doing it to brown citizens, they can do it to Black citizens, and they can use the Congo and Haiti as an excuse to just racially profile all of us. That's very true. But you have to stop telling Black people to put themselves on the line when Black people are exhausted. Black people are exhausted. Black people have done so much for all communities in this country. At a certain point, there has to be a time where they need to rest. And right now, a bunch of people are resting, and that's fine. But there will always be people in our community who fight. Like, I'm using my voice every fucking day on this app. I've made an update about every single thing going on with ICE raids, locations, where they are, what's happening with Trump. I do it every day on my social page, and it's exhausting. And I'm actually exhausted. Today, I put up like 10 posts. I'm exhausted, but I'm doing it because I know my voice has reach, and I know that people need to hear it. And that's my personal choice. I'm not doing it because I feel obligated. So stop trying to make people feel obligated to put themselves on the line again. I say that to say it's a lot of fucked up shit happening in this country. I know that people and families, I was in tears last night seeing people self-deport themselves and people getting rounded up, grandfathers and grandmothers and abuelitas getting taken away, who are the people who are the fabric of this city in LA. But I just know that it doesn't end here, and there are Black people on that list. There are Black countries on that list. There are Black countries on that list, and I'll say that to you again. There are Black countries on that list.
If you're rejected, accept it. If you're unloved, let go. If they choose someone or something over you, move on. Not everyone you love will stay. Not everyone you trust will be loyal. I don't care about losing people who don't want to be in my life anymore. I've lost people who meant the world to me, and I'm still doing just fine. Do not follow the majority. Follow the right way. You can feel it when someone is not being real with you. Energy never lies. Always speak how you feel and never be sorry for being real. Give people time. Give people space. Don't beg anyone to stay. Let them roam. What's meant for you will always be yours. I feel so much better when people don't know where I am and what I'm doing.
Puerto Rican chicks from the East Coast are
One thing too is I don't carry racism and hatred in my heart. I just don't. But I definitely do not discount or deny that it exists. It freaking does. I know it does. I'm saying this to say that I was of the camp. Like I knew, not everybody rocked with black folks. But I didn't know to the extent to which some Mexican, some Latino cultures didn't. Like I thought they were black adjacent, honestly. This is real talk. This is real, warrior metaphysic, whatever. This is a black man talking to you through the screen right now. I thought we were cool. But I've heard so many accounts of what black people have gone through in California, particularly Southern California. And depending on where you are in the country, the experience is a little bit different. In some areas they get along well, In some areas they don't. But what I didn't know was how deeply rooted and insidious it is. And it's like, have you ever been like, I can't even think of a worthy like analogy right now, but like let's just say you met somebody you thought they were cool. Like let's say you met your favorite like celebrity or something, or somebody you really admired. And you see them on screen or you hear them on the radio and you think they're cool, but then you meet them and then they're just like not. You're like, really? Dang, man, I really thought you were cool. I really thought we were good. That's how some black people are feeling. Because we knew it existed, the racism or whatever, but we didn't know the extent and how deeply it ran and how vitriolic it is. So some of this rejection too is a response to that hurt. Like, dang, I would have thought we were better. I thought they were better people than that. Or I thought they liked us more than that. Dang, that hurts. It sucks.
And that I'm jealous because East Coast Puerto Rico.
Don't beg anyone to stay. Let them roam. What's meant for you will always be yours. I feel so much better when people don't know where I am and what I'm doing.
Puerto Rican chicks from the East Coast are claiming that I'm jealous because East Coast Puerto Rican chicks are into black guys. What? That makes absolutely no sense. First of all, my wife is Puerto Rican, and all my chicks before that have been Puerto Rican. And the difference between Puerto Ricans and black guys is that it's not color or race or anything, it's culture. And let me tell you that you're not going to black guys because they're better men. They're just more tolerable of the hoish culture. They're more tolerable of the feminist ideas. They're more tolerable of being receptive to the hyena mentality. So when I say that I have a problem with cultural integration, I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about culture. Africans reject Black American culture.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I just wanted to get over here.
Bro, what? I put that in here just to mark that we're now moving into the phase of bringing receipts to this whole thing and why stuff might be the way it is right now and why people are feeling the way they're feeling.
make a quick little video this morning about rejection. And I want to talk about rejection because I feel like it is so easy to like internalize all the things that are wrong when you get some type of rejection, whether that be a rejection from a person or a rejection from a job, or rejection from an establishment or place, whatever the case that may be. I feel like it's a lot of, ooh, well, what did I do or what could I do differently? When in reality, we have to learn that some things just are not for us. And as much as we want it to be for us, sometimes it's just not gonna be. And that's okay, because the things that are supposed to be are gonna be. So when you find yourself in those moments of rejection and you find yourself downing yourself and thinking bad about yourself, just remind you, it really ain't got to do with you. It really don't, because it ain't for you. And that's okay. What will.
Latinos are inherently.
Amen. What will. Shout out to Malik's Mentals on TikTok for that one. And if we look at where he said, like I said, through a universal lens, through a cultural lens, not just an individual lens. Look at it from an individual one, but expand that viewpoint out to race relations, cultural relations, societal relations at large. And I think we'll start to get a better understanding of like the whole mental mix, the whole energetic mix that we're all fighting through right now. But it's going to be the individual work that we do. That whole change starts with you thing. Nothing more true than that. But you got to get a lay of the land first and understand yourself first. Because as we change and grow and clean our junk out, we heal the world at large, little bit by little bit. It's a lot of work, but it's freaking worth it.
Racist. I can't believe I'm having this conversation again, but I just seen a video of a Cuban girl who is, might I add, white passing as all hell. And yes, I said Cuban, so it's pretty self-explanatory as to why she thinks the way she does, because Cubans are one of the worst. And this is coming from a Latina, so I'm gonna yap and talk my shit, okay? The fact that she thought it was cool to literally broadcast that she says the N-word and she doesn't see the issue with it and that you guys are just crybabies is absolutely insane. Girl, you literally will never understand, because the color of your skin lets you into places and spaces that make you feel comfortable. You literally have found proximity to white people, and in that proximity, you became weird. But need I remind people yet again, proximity does not equal whiteness. At the end of every single day, you are still a Latina, even if it doesn't really show. And at the end of every day, they think they should deport you. But you feel like, because you came here legally, like, let's not use that word too loosely, that you're one of the privileged ones. When on any given day, a Caucasian person wouldn't be able to tell the difference between you and a Mexican, a Puerto Rican, a Ecuadorian, whatever have you. We are one and the same. But you found this new proximity that makes you feel like you are not. And it's honestly just gross. It's really, really gross. And doing it for clicks and views and just being an overall moron in your stance is just weird. But once again, Cuban from Florida. Do I need to say more?
I live in Texas, right? And you know,
Shout out to Tasha for that one. Tasha.
why I'm just like, all the stuff that's going on, I just sit back and smile because I saw this. I just want you to know that almost all of Texas blacks, a good percentage, we voted against it because I live in Texas. I saw what was happening. I knew what was coming. Let me tell you, here in Texas, the amount of racism I've ever even come close to experiencing from Mexicans, from Spanish people. When I was a dancer, when I was a stripper, every time I would go to the club, the way that the clubs were so racist, there was a time I went to a club out in Texas, what the fuck is it called? Damn. if I'm lying, there's strippers who will be in here. And the club told me that, oh, they don't hire girls like me. This is a club full of a bunch of, I would say, illegals, because I'm sure none of them spoke English. None of them spoke English, which I low-key think they was trapping out of there. They was pimping them girls out of there. And they said, oh, they don't take girls like us. We should go down to the club down the street, the black club. I just laugh because, let me tell you, karma is beautiful. Karma is beautiful. And you know what's funny? I went by that club a couple days ago. It's empty. It's empty. It's empty. Even though the racism applied to me, I still voted against all this shit. I voted against it. And guess what they did? Voted to hurt me.
Down South wasn't the only place that drove out black people from certain areas just because they were black. That happened in Los Angeles too. Boyle Heights. See, they firebombed housing developments with black families in them. And if you don't know what a housing development is, it's basically the projects, a row of apartments all in a certain section. And they firebombed these apartments because of black families being there. Just simply race motivated, race driven. And not only black Americans, they did it to Afro Latinos. That's why I'm like, when Afro Latinos be fighting for their life to be Latino, they don't see you as Latino. They see you as black. This is how heartless they are. They did this all on Mother's Day. On Mother's Day. And mind you, these people were not active gang members. These were people struggling, low income people. And you know who they replaced these people with, these black families with? Latino families. In certain sections of LA County, they're still like sundown towns. You can't be out there after dark if you black. And these erasure campaigns, black erasure campaigns, been going on since the 90s.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this as...
Shout out to Donnie on Timeout for that one. That's DONNIE. Donnie on Timeout.
And these erasure campaigns, black erasure campaigns, been going on since the 90s.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this as respectful as possible. So I just want to start off by saying that I have Spanish in my family. I'm not being racist or nothing like that. But what I'm about to speak on is really a thing. Okay, so I live in Long Island, right? And the Spanish people around here act like they're white. They literally try to be racist towards black people. And not all of them, but majority of them. They look at us like, what are we doing here, when we can ask y'all what y'all doing here. Y'all see what Trump up to? So it's like, if y'all gonna be here, y'all could at least be respectful. You know what I mean? And I say this very respectfully. I didn't even know if I should speak on it because it's such a sensitive topic. But the shit that goes on nowadays be baffling me, because it's just like, do you know in America you're a minority unless you're white? You're Spanish, so you're considered black just like me. So what be tripping me out is when the Spanish people be really acting like they're racist to black people. Like, I don't know where you guys may be from, but I'm from Long Island, and out here is a thing. We already got the racist white people, but when the Spanish people start acting like that too, and they have no reason to act like that neither, because people treat them nice. It's crazy to me. Like, we're all equal, and we all need to stick together, not just Spanish with Spanish or blacks with blacks, but everybody. Because in America, that Trump is about to put a dome over, we're all considered equal in his eyes, except if you're white. So don't think you're not a minority because you're Spanish. You are too. Like, it's sickening. But yeah, I had to get that off my chest.
This African man is going viral right now, right? Because he owns a contracting company in Virginia, right? So he hires a lot of, Latinos, right? So he said that the Latinos keep snitching on him on the black Americans, right? Trying to get them fired. Yeah, trying to get them fired, right? So they could bring in more Latinos into the company, right? Y'all want to know the game these Latinos run on this African dude, right? he said, come on, man, you're an immigrant. We immigrants, you know, we gotta look out. They said, immigrant unity, brother. These black men, they lazy, bro. They clacking, they coming late, they leave early, bro. I could bring you Juan and Jose over here, bro. They're gonna work twice as hard for half the price, bro. What are we doing here, man? And oh my God, are black people furious in that comment section, right? But it was an interesting that he said, right? He said they kept snitching on Black Americans. They were snitching. If you're snitching, it means that the individual is probably doing something they're not supposed to be doing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he kept saying that they're snitching on them. You don't snitch on somebody who gets there on time, right? Stays late if they have to, works hard, but you don't snitch on a hardworking person. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't really quite understand the vid. I don't know if this dude was like trying to pander to the Black American community, but why would you say that they're snitching on Black Americans? What is it to snitch on, bro, if they work hard? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, everybody in the comments is losing and talking about this is what they do, man. They're looking out for their own people, this and that. And it's like, bro, that's what everybody does. Everybody looks for their own people, man. If you ever look at whoever's in charge of an organization and you look at the people around them, that's going to be a reflection of those. But them saying, yo, you're an immigrant, I'm an immigrant, I got my cousin that just came across the border, bro. Twice the work, half the price. Hey, if you want it, you take it. If not, you keep dealing with your mom.
Oh, older Mexican man.
I did see that video. I thought I might have even included in here. I thought I did. Look, it's so many videos that I can't even tell you if I included it in here or not. And when he said snitching, I don't think he meant snitching as in they're doing something wrong. Like the black people are showing up late, so they committed. And what he's saying is snitching means you've obviously committed an infraction, and I'm going to tell on you for that infraction. I think, and this is just my interpretation, if you've seen that video, I could be wrong. It's snitching as in throwing somebody else under the bus. Yes, like the dude in this last video said, everybody's going to look out for their own culture. But if you have to do that to the detriment of somebody else, or do that at the expense of somebody else, that's when it's a problem. That's when it's not cool, and that's when it's a slight. And that is the stuff that people are seeing and realizing that is happening, that have a lot of other people, that have, a lot of black people feeling disenfranchised and thereby rejected again. This is the slight, microaggression, hidden, subliminal stuff that is now coming to the surface. A lot of stuff is up for healing right now. A lot of stuff is up for a vibrational cleansing, if you will. And right now we're at a crossroad on the planet where we're having to approach this stuff on a major scale. That's why you're seeing all the videos you're seeing right now. That's why we're seeing all the protests and stuff we're seeing right now. That's why all of this is happening. But we will squander this opportunity if we don't look at it as a chance to grow, if we don't start looking at our own faults, the role we play in stuff, good, bad, and ugly, we're just going to squander another opportunity and end up in even more chaos. So people, wake up, pay attention, look at your brethren around you, and start trying to see the God in people. Start trying to see the value in people. Let's get to some level of communication, some level of understanding where we can at least coexist on this planet. We all live on this earth together. I haven't seen any deity come down anywhere ever to tell me one skin color is better than another one. That one race is better than another one. I just haven't seen that. Please point it out to me if you have.
Won't let his daughter date a black man, but she could date a white man.
Because of the skin color. It's almost sad because they say, para mejorar la raza.
Yeah,
that's what they be saying.
To better the race.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
Fucked up, bro. They're fucked up,
So when my grandma moved to the city, and my grandpa moved to the city and they met, my grandma automatically just seemed better because she was with this guy from Michoacan that was light-skinned and white with green eyes. And she looked like Felipe, dark, short, and that she thought she was better, fool. Like, and I swear to God, for my grandma just passed, but she loved my nephew more than she loved my niece.
Yes, you guys don't like Black Americans at all. You guys just say bad things about them. They're criminals. They're from slavery. They are not from Africa. They don't know their home. Oh, you know, it's so sad. All the time, you look at a black man and you tell them that, oh, you are from America. You are not African. You are not from Africa. You are lost. You are from slavery. I'm not a slave. You are a slave. Shame on you. Shame on you to even open your mouth. Do you know how painful that is? Whether they look like you or they don't look like you, they are your people. And you say to their face that you are not one of me. You are a slave. Wow. Do you know the pain that our ancestors went through? Just because you were not colonized does not mean you should open your mouth to call somebody a slave.
Hispanics practice Jim Crow against Black Americans in Houston. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. At Houston Community College, right? The Chandler Caesar, he's a Hispanic man. He got together with the director of HR and the board of trustees, and they came up with this plan to get rid of Black employees at high positions. They did anything from putting false complaints in their folders so they could get demoted or get fired. And then they replaced these Black employees with Hispanics. Hispanics went up, the hiring for Hispanics went up 50%. These three individuals orchestrated the plan. And this is what they stated in their emails. Now, we Hispanics are going to receive preferential treatment. This plan was successful, targeting Black top employees. Now they got a class action suit against Houston Community College for $100 million. They have to come up with some type of settlement by 2026. But yeah, let Houston tell it. They'll tell you like brown and Black unity.
One of the key
Thanks again to Donnie on timeout for that one. So when you learn about this stuff, people, and you start hearing about these things, it's very challenging to stay open. It's very challenging to still feel compelled to extend an olive branch. It's very challenging to allow yourself to walk out your door and still treat everybody around you the same, regardless. When you learn that people are doing stuff like that to people, just based off the color of their skin, or what you think about their culture, or stereotypes, whatever, that's got you living from that diminished place of racism. But we're all expected to go out in this world and be our best selves. We all got to start taking some accountability. Everyone's shit stinks. Everybody's. All right. I'm just going to stop it right there.
takeaways of being an oppressed people is everyone expects you to have a very short memory. It's either a short memory or everyone expects you to forgive really quick because now they're offering a helping hand. Chicago, during Black Lives Matter. Y'all on here talking about Black Lives Matter, we stood with you. Yeah, you stood with the police. During look at it, June 2020, Black Lives Matter, you stood with the police. Witness shared a video on Twitter, shows Latino men throwing bricks at cars driving by. Latino men. I remember when I had my beef with trucks. When I say the biggest ops, the biggest group of men that came over and were very antagonistic to me were Hispanic men, Latino men. But I don't understand what it is about that group of men, pathetic ass men that I don't get it. Y'all pathetic. Because you don't have the guts to stand up to white men, but you want to toss. Now you're begging black men for help. The same white men that you stood with are sending you back to your countries. I don't give a fuck. Don't come to my page, talk about divide and conquer. Fuck you. We were never united. We were never united. See, everyone has an issue with black people standing up for themselves. It's not just black people. Everyone has an issue with black men standing up for themselves. The group that I helped, I'm not even going to go there. But all I want to say is we remember.
That's what people are feeling like, folks.
Who are working in my company. I'm a black man. I own a company. I have.
This is the guy. I did include the video. Woohoo!
A Latino. The Latino comes back and complain about the African Americans because the Latino thinks because I'm African, I don't have any relationship with the African American. The Latino comes to me and tell me that you are an immigrant. I'm an immigrant. That African American cannot work. I have Jose, I have Gonzalez, my brothers who know how to work very well. You need to fire the African Americans and I will bring a lot of hardworking Latinos who will work for your company. This is my company as a black man. My company. I was a contractor at Quantico Marine Base in Virginia. A contractor for General Electrics. And the Latino workers that are hired, they are snitching on the African American workers that are hired for me to fire the African Americans so they can bring Latinos to take their place.
Man, stop trying to hear stuff like that. When people get wind of things like that happening, how do you think that's going to affect relations? Race relations. When people find out that that's the level that you're operating on.
These people that we need to stand together and all that, they ain't trying to hear that shit, bro. They've been betrayed so many times, bro. 1877, after federal troops pulled out of the South, bro. Betrayed. 40 acres in a mule, betrayed. You feel me? Jim Crow, betrayed. Redlining, betrayed. Every promise that this country has made to them has been a false promise. And now we need y'all to stand with us while we march. Like, leave them people alone. They ain't trying to hear that shit. They ain't trying to hear that shit. Because they know how prevalent racism is in our community. And they know how y'all talk about them when they ain't in the room. And they know that now y'all got y'all N-word wake up. Didn't y'all? Y'all got that Paul Mooney N-word wake up call. And now y'all want to scream unity and solidarity. Nah, bro. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. The people that have been working together will continue to work together. The people that have empathy for your plight and your situation will continue to have empathy for your plight and situation. But don't try to convince people to come join your side. Like, oh, it's always been. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're trying to survive their damn self. They're trying to figure out how this man is about to get rid of the 13th and 14th Amendment and strip them of citizenship. What, you don't think they know what time it is? They got to deal with their own shit. I'm just saying, I see a lot of videos where people are like trying to convince, Black Americans that they need to stand side by side with Black and brown unity, but when it's something that doesn't benefit us, we ain't screaming that shit. Yeah, get mad. Go ahead. You know I'm fucking right.
So I saw a post and it was like 100 Latinos versus 100 blacks. Shut the fuck up. Who the fuck wants to see that? How about 100 blacks and 100 Latinos opening up businesses other than rice and bean and soul food shops? How about that? How about we create businesses that all our children get jobs and they won't be in jail because blacks, Latinos are the majority in jail. Y'all gotta wake up and stop with this ignorant ass shit. Ignorant. It's time for us to come together on some real business shit. We already ate the rice and beans. We already ate the tacos. We already ate the soul food, the Jamaican food. It's time to infuse our foods, businesses. We going to mechanic shops. Niggas don't speak English. Why y'all don't hire black niggas to speak English? And then the other niggas speak Spanish. 2 different monies. It ain't the same. Y'all ignorant. Money is money. Green is green to me. When I was working, everybody was under me. It wasn't about race. Everybody had a job. Legit, I got Mexicans right now. They told me I'll open up a restaurant. They coming to work with me. Because I don't play that. Everybody getting paid and it's equal. Fix it, Jesus. I hope you can fix it.
The Black and the brown community, we need to come together. And we need to remember.
First of all, we done told you no. You don't even respect us enough to take no for an answer. We asked you to stop saying the N-word. You said no. And so come together and remember what exactly? Remember that y'all anti-black as fuck, racist as fuck, a lot of y'all. So we ain't got to come together and do a damn thing. We done said no. Respect our boundaries and leave us the fuck alone. Okay? We done said no. The answer is no. When y'all come here, y'all want to align with whiteness. You love whiteness. You glorify whiteness and demonize blackness. So you need to make videos and ask white Americans to join with you. Because that's who you love so much, right? That's who ass you kiss. That's who boots you lick. So why the hell y'all not calling on them? Why are y'all calling on black people? Y'all always want to use black Americans. You want us to come out there and get the hell beat out of us for your racist anti-black ass. It ain't happening. We said no. Period.
Black folks are not settlers. And the individual who mislabeled them as such cited, "Decolonization is not a metaphor," an article that I've read multiple times during my graduate program. And I'm here to clear a few things up. The authors make it explicitly clear that Black folks, the descendants of enslaved Africans, are not settlers. They were forcibly brought to these lands as chattel slaves, violently dislocated from their homeland, commodified, and positioned in this scheme of settler colonialism, not as settlers, but as exploitative and punishable labor. Now, when we engage in these scholarly texts, it's really important to read them in their entirety before we cite them. Mislabeling Black folks as settlers is harmful. It erases the profound violence of slavery, racial capitalism, and anti-Blackness. It also causes harm to the conversations between Black and Native communities around solidarity and liberation. And so when you read these texts, do so with great care.
Thing. I'm wondering, why aren't members of the Asian American community getting the same "you need to leave" sentiment from leftists or more conservative leaning Hispanic Americans that us Black folk are getting? Because y'all know not to try that with them. The Asians, and I know you've got progressive Asians, no racial group is a monolith, but most races do tend to culturally have a collective school of thought that's widely shared among most races. So for every one Black person protesting, there's going to be 2 Black people that are saying, "I'm resting," or recalibrating. You get me? But I will say, when it comes to movements, the Black American, since everybody wants to be a Black American now, mighty funny, before Donald Trump came, it was, "Oh, well, I'm Caribbean from Barbados. I'm I'm an island gal. I'm foreign." Everybody wanted to be foreign. But now, "Oh, we're all Black. We're all Black." No, we're Black Americans. I'm not African. No, I'm not referring to myself as an African American. I am the descendant of the Black American Negroes, chattel slavery, ancestors that were here in the original Virginia colonies. Both white and Black fought in the Revolutionary War. And that's why I'm very intentional now about Black people saying we are Black Americans, since everybody wants to take facets of our culture, yet the actual Black Americans, descendants of American chattel slavery, can never really benefit from it like they can. Huge ADHD divergence that was. So why aren't you all asking members of other minority groups to assist? Why are we getting the whole "you're being mean to me"? Because Black folks are used to just going along. "I've got you, Sally. Just come on with me." "Oh, you were better used to just lay on Big Mama's bosom. We's gonna get you." No, we're tired of that, because the Asians will quickly just say to your face, "No."
I have been struggling on how to...
Shout out to Cap Clad Law Grad for that one. In case you haven't noticed it, we're now in kind of the FBA Response section. of the videos. So let's keep rolling.
Say this, and I made a video earlier, I took it down, but y'all are focusing on the wrong people. Y'all are focusing on why don't black people care what Trump is doing. We do. But we're focusing on us and ourselves to survive through this. What y'all need to be focused on instead of, well, why aren't black people actively protesting and doing all the things that they usually do? One, because we told you we're not going to do that anymore. Okay, we told you. Y'all didn't listen. Two, because we can't help you as much as the people you need to help you. Okay? You need white people. You're focusing on black people, you need to focus on white people. You need to get their attention, their compassion, their empathy, their social and political power. You're focused on the wrong people. You're focused on the wrong demographic. Black people don't make up the vast majority of this country. We don't make up the vast majority of politicians. We are not in the White House. I'm telling you, you need to focus on white people and getting them to actively care and campaign and protest in your name, in your favor, and leave black people alone.
So I just got done watching this live of this black British girl talking about how black Americans, we think that we're superior over all black people, and that we don't even realize that in their land, there's people who came during Windrush, which is when a bunch of Caribbean people came to the UK to work for their oppressor. And that there's people who came during that time who are getting sent back to the Caribbean, and that we don't understand our privilege. And it made me realize where all this like online friction between a lot of black British people towards black Americans is coming from. It's coming down to jealousy. I try to tell everybody the difference between black British people and black Americans is that black British people have an immigrant story. They have an immigrant background. Whereas in America, black Americans, we're not looked at as foreign. When somebody asks you if you're a black American, where you're from, and you say Chicago, that person's not black, gonna say, oh, okay, cool. My cousin's from there, my aunt's from there. But over there in the UK, when they're asked where you're from, they always get hit with, no, where are you really from? Because they're not welcomed in this country that they defend so hard. So again, I put this anger towards jealousy because it's displaced anger. Because once again, the reason why black Americans are looking at black British people crazy about y'all making jokes about running from getting your ass beat over a soccer game and that we don't get your humor is because you'll never see black Americans joking like that. Because if that actually were to happen in real life, we pull out folding chairs. We pull out them bows. You know what I'm saying? But this is what happens when you have a lack of community. Instead of coming towards black Americans, you need to build community towards yourselves. But y'all don't have it because, first of all, y'all have your own issues, such as Caribbeans versus Africans. I said this all stems down to jealousy because, once again, the one thing traveling overseas I had realized is that black Americans really are the face of black people globally. I mean, in the UK, they just had the Wireless Fest where almost 90% of the acts were from America. Most of the audience were black British people. It comes down to community. See, in America, you can have all these type of black American type of celebrities because we have something called community. In the UK, you have to look a certain type of way if you want to be black and seen out there. You have to be mixed, you might have to be light-skinned, or you have to talk in a certain way that best makes the population of UK comfortable. See, in America, you can have a SZA, a Summer Walker, a Money Long, a Coco Jones, you know, dark-skinned girls who sell music and are out there in the mainstream. But out in the UK, they don't have that because they don't have community. Instead of creating diaspora wars, because that's really what y'all create, put all that energy into fighting back and creating something for yourself in a country where y'all went to, where these are the same people who oppressed you in the first place. No, and that's the thing I have an issue too with black British people is that y'all will say black Americans think they're this, Americans think they're that, they think they're better. How is that when y'all, the first thing y'all love to scream on this app is that, oh, we know where we're from. But once again, because I need to make sure this bubble is broken, if you are a black British Caribbean person or that comes from Caribbean descent, you do not know where you come from. For example, if you're from Jamaica, if that's where your grandparents or your great-grandparents are from, England, they named you who you were. They named what your country was called. They put you on a ship to go work out there and go dig up some sugar cane so they could be rich and live in castles. So how do you know where you come from when people put you on a ship and sent you to a place that you claim you come from? You're not from there. You're from somewhere else. You just don't know where that ship came from.
Breaking news you can use.
All right. So what do y'all think about that one? I never looked at it from that perspective about jealousy. Thank you to Draco M. That's DRAYCOM for that one.
Folks, you're going to want to hear this. There have been multiple reports of videos on the social media app called TikTok of non-Black Hispanics and Latinos complaining that Black Americans refuse to stand with them. They cite that they were there during Black Lives Matter protests, despite only making up about 7% of those protests. They have been playing music such as Tupac, where he says that the Black and Mexicans stand together. They have unfortunately been unable to find examples of their musical artists talking about standing in solidarity with Black people. But they have a lot of examples of Black people talking about standing with them. There have also been reports of Black immigrants criticizing Black Americans for refusing to stand with the Latino and Mexican community during these ICE protests. They have stated that they are under the belief that Black Americans are lazy, which is very reminiscent of white supremacist talking point. They have stated that they are tired of us using our ancestors' accomplishments on immigration that allowed them to be here, and that we, in fact, have not done anything and have no right to take a rest, despite all of the genocidal actions that are happening against Black Americans here. Despite Black Americans opening their arms to all community at the detriment of themselves, Black Americans apparently have not sacrificed enough blood, sweat, and tears to quench their thirst. There have also been plenty reports of very mixed Black people, who I affectionately call quadrocoons, yelling into their cameras at different odd angles and different odd places, never at a protest, stating that Black Americans are evil and wrong if they do not stand up with everybody else's cause, even while dealing with their racism, because they believe Black people should push through their emotions and deal with the racism, because there are other priorities taking place. Black people should come last. Folks, they're saying that after they come for the brown people, they'll be coming for the Black people next. Many Black Americans find this surprising. I am one of them, because I never knew that they stopped, and I could have sworn that we were first, since this all looks quite familiar, but I could be mistaken. Apparently, a lot of these people suffer from some type of amnesia and forget that the Black Lives Matter movement was co-opted by several other movements, including for Hispanics. There were quite a few reports of Black people helping Hispanics protest for immigration rights, including the Black vote, who overwhelmingly and the most voted for Kamala Harris. Just remember, folks, Black issues are last. Deal with the racism, help others. That's the way to go. Hopefully they'll double back and come help us afterwards. This has been News You Can Use with Crystal Black. Toodaloo. As Black America.
Shout out to Crystal Black. I love that. I love her whole approach, her whole angle, her whole delivery. That's what's up.
We need to normalize when people ask us where we're from, we simply say we're from America, because that is true. But you know what? Some people are intellectually curious, and so they might say, "Oh, via where?" And you know, they might be trying to build a bond with you. And you can simply say, "I'm multi-generational American. My ancestors came to America via the transatlantic slave trade hundreds of years ago." And I use that all the time, and people literally grasp it immediately. Even if they don't, they know enough not to keep prying and ask. It usually closes the door. Also, I think because this is the global history of so many countries around the world, like Jamaica and Haiti and Barbados and St. Vincent, St. Lucia, I mean, I can go on. But like for some reason, sometimes when Black Americans, because America has such an immigrant history, there's a perception that you are first and second generation immigrant, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And sometimes people are just simply asking because you remind them of their countrymen, which I think is like a really good compliment. But also, as a Black American, you don't owe anyone a history lesson. Sometimes there is an educational deficit in their home country, or there is somehow an educational deficit, you know, culturally, and they just don't have that history and they don't have that context. Yes, they understand Americanness and they understand Western culture and they see Black Americans on TV and all these things, but a lot of times they don't have the historical context. And if you feel like it, go off and give them the history lesson. But what I will never do, it's no shade to y'all, what I will never do is look somebody dead in the eye and tell them I don't know where I'm from. Because I know exactly where I'm from. And I'm super proud. It's a super rich history with a super rich like cultural context and diaspora community.
Okay, I want to take a moment to say thank you to Donald Trump, not out of praise, but out of truth. Because while you rip through every part of this government, tearing down justice, equality, and fairness under the fake excuse of fighting DEI fraud, what you're really doing is confirming what Black folks have been saying for generations. America was built on racism, fueled by fear and sustained by white supremacy. You've exposed it all. The masks are off. The polite racism, the fake allyship, the colorblind lies, it's all gone. Now we see it raw and unfiltered. You're not just targeting policy, you're targeting people. Black people, brown people, marginalized communities. In the wild part, we make up the smallest portion of this country, yet somehow we are the biggest threat to the lie that white supremacy built. That should tell you everything. You're afraid not of violence, not of replacement, but of the power we hold even when we have nothing. You see the way our culture, our brilliance, our resilience, our excellence continues to shape this country, even when it tries to erase us. Donald Trump is just the loudest version of a system that's always been in place. He is the living, breathing proof that this country was never designed with us in mind. And yet, we continue to define it. So thank you, Donald, for exposing what so many tried to deny, for showing the world that the fear of Black greatness is real, for proving that racism isn't in our imagination, it's in the fabric of this nation. And to my people, we don't have to fight to prove our worth. He's doing that for us. All we have to do is stand firm, stay awake, and know that the truth is finally louder than the lie. We are not broken. We are not the problem. We are the evidence of the power that this country can contain. Let that truth ring louder than its hate.
I'm not gonna lie, the way this world really...
Thank you to official Ahmed Caballo for that one. Serious nuggets there.
Trump needed to win. And before anybody come attack me, I'm not saying I voted for him. One, I'm not saying I don't get affected by him. My family don't get affected. My neighborhood, my area, my people are getting affected the worst. But this is what I mean by saying that. Most of his supporters and followers are the white working class. You know what I'm saying? These people are a little spiteful, racist. You know, they think their whiteness gives them immunity to everything that's happening. But jokes on them, they're going to be affected as well. See, what they fail to realize is Trump's alliances with the super wealthy people. Everything that he does goes against the hardworking class, the poor class, the middle class. It goes against all of us. And just because you're white does not take you out of anything. But he preys on them people. He preys on them not having no education. And he preys on them being ignorant. And it affects all of us. The racism that he uses to fuel his support is a distraction. It's a distraction from realizing that it's not me versus you. It's them versus us. See, he got y'all thinking the problem is us looking left to right. Your neighbor, you know what I'm saying? People at the grocery store, the people down the street, the people on the next block, the people in the next hood. He got y'all thinking the problem is right here. Whole time the problem is up and down. The rich versus the poor. They just gonna get more and more and more and more while we getting less and less and less and less. And maybe you being middle class and under, white, Black, Indian, Mexican, whatever, baby, you are part of the us, but they're not realizing that. He got their head so far up their ass that they don't even realize that he is bleeding them dry too. Y'all are Y'all are getting drained just like the rest of us are. Y'all's jobs, y'all healthcare, y'all education, everything around y'all. Like, you think you gonna have your own independent, separate hospital to go to? You think they're gonna make an extra independent school for you? No, baby. When them hospitals close in our neighborhood, where you gonna go? When your kids can go to public school, them teachers are quitting because they ain't getting paid enough, and your kids dumb as hell, your kids gonna be working too. When they building all these prisons, all these prison systems, but want these kids to be dumb, these kids to be robots, so they gonna just grow up and go nowhere, they can't afford college, so they're gonna make some little dumbass extra laws to put all these kids in jail. You think that my kids gonna be exempt from that? Yeah, it might be more of us that get affected than y'all, but y'all still not gonna be exempt from this. Baby, it's them versus us, and y'all not realizing that. See, as everything around us that's falling apart and will continue to fall apart, something that we've always experienced our whole lives as the minority, maybe Trump supporters will realize that their whiteness was never a protection. It was just bait. And then maybe you will realize that these rich white people in power, who y'all thought was fighting for y'all specifically, was never fighting for y'all. They were just feeding off of y'all to profit their agenda for their lives and their children and their grandchildren and their greed. But hey, make America great again, right?
Did you know that by dealing with rejection, you can help yourself heal from racial trauma? Now, let me explain. Discrimination at its core is a rejection of some aspect of your identity. Now, for individuals of African descent, research tells us that we experience on average 5 acts of discrimination every single day. So that's 5 instances of rejection daily. Now, the main reason rejection hurts so bad is because we have been taught to outsource our value to the masses and to society at large, when in fact, we ourselves are the only ones qualified to speak on the value that we possess. So how does a person start to heal from the pain of rejection? Well, one exercise that you can do is to go back to your very first childhood memory when you experience rejection and speak to that child all of the validation, love, encouragement, and affirmation that you wished an adult would have said to you. Now, this may be difficult at first, and if you need some help, click the link in my bio. But what this exercise does, is allows you to be the superhero in your own story, which naturally puts you back into the position of power in your life, which is where you need to be. So now, when you bump into one of those 5 instances of rejection, you can ask yourself, is this person qualified to speak on the value that I possess? And every time you can answer no. Peace.
Rejection is not the end of the road. It's a redirection. When someone shuts a door in your face, it's not a sign that you're unworthy. It's a message telling you there's something better waiting for you. It's something we all dread. We're told no, doors are closed, opportunities slip away. But today, I want to show you that rejection is not an obstacle. It's a stepping stone. It's not the universe telling you to quit. It's asking you to rise. So let them reject you. Let them turn their backs on you. Because every single no you face is a seed of greatness. Why? Because rejection isn't personal. It's a process. And when you understand that, rejection stops being a setback and starts being your greatest advantage.
You are kind and loving and generous, but continuously get ignored or rejected, never assign meaning to that. The only thing being rejected means when you're super kind and loving is that the person you're trying to reach isn't ready to accept that level of love and kindness from an external source, because the universe knows, or God knows, or whatever you believe in knows, that person isn't capable of giving it to themselves yet. They just haven't learned how to give it to themselves yet. And I'm not...
And just like this happens on an individual level, it happens on a communal, if you will, in a cultural and societal level as well. So,
told no.
They just haven't learned how to give it to themselves yet. And I'm not saying that you can't love other people if you don't know how to love yourself, But I am saying that you have to love yourself first to know how to love other people. So again, if you're someone who's empathetic and honest and loving and genuine, and you keep getting rejected by people, it is not a reflection of you. I want to scream this. It is not your issue. It is not your fault. It just means that your level of kindness is so above average in a world full of darkness that sometimes, ironically, it's hard to accept that much love because we're not used to it. You don't need to change anything about yourself. That's not what I'm saying. But you do need to accept others and let yourself know that they're just not really where you are.
The key to getting over your abandonment wound is to allow yourself to be abandoned. The key to getting over your rejection wound is to allow yourself to be rejected. I know this sounds really backwards in theory, but hear me out. Everybody gets abandoned at some point, usually in early childhood and usually by our parents or our caregivers. That's like the first time we get abandoned by somebody. When we get abandoned, there's a subconscious imprint in our mind. There's a belief that we form about ourselves that who we are as we are is not good enough. So we need to change something or do something to make sure that we don't get abandoned ever again. We never get left again. We never get rejected again. So as soon as we form that belief, that is when we self-abandon from that point. To avoid being abandoned by other people, we will self-abandon ourselves, reject ourselves to make sure other people don't reject us, to make sure other people don't abandon us. The more that we do that, the more we believe we need other people to validate our worthiness. The wound never heals because you continue to abandon yourself, you continue to reject yourself for other people's validation, and in the process, you never validate yourself. So to break out of that, you have to stop self-abandoning. You have to stop self-rejecting. You have to allow other people to abandon you, to walk away, to walk out of your life. You have to allow other people to reject you, to not want to be with you, be around you. And you do that by fully accepting yourself, accepting who you are. And whenever you get abandoned or rejected, changing the narrative that you have told yourself from the very first time you got rejected when you were younger to now, the narrative that there's something wrong with me, that I got abandoned, that I got rejected. And really work on not abandoning yourself by throwing away your boundaries, by ignoring your needs, by changing yourself so somebody else will want you or will stay. Because all that's doing is reinforcing the subconscious belief that you're broken, something's wrong with you, that you're not good enough as you are, that you have to change to make somebody else like you. You will find that it does feel personal a lot of the times, but it's often not as personal as we make it seem, as our egos make it seem. So when you reinforce this and you learn to self-soothe, you learn to meet yourself with love and compassion and not judgment and criticism like, well, I must not be good enough and why am I so this and why am I so that? When you say, it's okay, some people will like me, some people will not, but I'm going to keep being myself because you will find people that like you for who you are. It is when you will begin to heal because you're no longer abandoning yourself and you're no longer looking at other people leaving you or rejecting you as you relying on them so heavily to validate you because you know how to validate yourself. So this takes some time, takes some practice. It's not something that's going to work or feel good the first time, second time, maybe not even the third time. But over time, you will see that when people walk out of your life or they don't choose you or they don't want you, it hurts less and less because you're being true to yourself. Therefore, you're not relying on them so much anymore for validation and you're no longer abandoning yourself. So allow yourself to get abandoned, allow yourself to be rejected, and change the narrative about why.
Absolutely. Amen. And like I say, I invite you to look at that not only in your direct personal relationships, but with cultural relationships, interracial relationships on group levels. Because like I said, that's what we're contending with right now. But everybody, I hope I brought it home at the end, with these rejection videos. I really hope that when you looked at rejection through the lens of these last few videos that you did so through a kind of global community consciousness level. That's what's going to help us put a lot of this stuff into perspective. If you've hung out with me for this long on this video, you are a real one. I appreciate you. And I'm willing to bet you got some value out of it. At the very least, I absolutely hope you did. That was the intention. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time. But it was it was a journey. It was a journey for me making it. I hope it was a journey for you to just see like where things started, you know, what Black people felt like they have been doing for everybody else versus Black people realizing and acknowledging the real reality and the response you're getting and what the lay of the land really is. And then ultimately the awareness and the response to that, like, okay, I see you. This is what I'm choosing to do now. I see you. Now I choose to do something different. Or what have you, sit on the sidelines or get a deeper sense of identity. Get a deeper sense of relating to your own people. And I didn't, and then finally, like these kind of little healing nuggets at the end to kind of clear up, challenge some of the stuff that was probably triggered as we watched these videos. That's what I was going for. I hope I achieved that objective. Thank you to all the creators on TikTok who put their messages out there. Like I say, I always encourage you guys to check them out, especially the ones that resonated with you the most. And you know, I didn't put this out to be divisive. I didn't put this out to, I did put it out to spark a conversation. I did put it out to spark, more importantly, an internal conversation, an internal dialogue within each of us that we need to have if we are going to get anywhere past any of this. Who knows what the future's about to hold? I think we are all in for a wild ride. That wild ride has already started. It's like you're on a roller coaster and you know how you go up that first hill? I think we're cresting that first hill and you know the ride only gets wilder from there. Those are just my thoughts. And I'll say one last time too, like, I don't know what your perception is of a spiritual warrior. Sometimes I even battle like, do I want to keep this channel named that? But I do because I had the wrong conception of what I thought a spiritual warrior was. I thought it was some monk or guru that sits and levitates and prays and blesses everybody and is always peaceful. And no, that's not at all what a warrior is. A warrior on the front lines. You're out in the ugly. You got to meet people where they are. You got to meet the moment. Get in the stuff. You got to get into the dirt to clean it up. So this is what this channel is. That is what this video was designed to do. I feel like we all benefit. I mean, I feel like there's a huge benefit in listening to different people's perspectives, different voices, different walks of life. That's what adds to the volume of our own individual understanding. That's what gives us the compassion to be open to hear other people. And it gives you an opportunity to challenge your own beliefs, to decide if you want to change any of your beliefs or not. If you want to hold, you might hear something that make you want to hold tighter to what you feel and believe. Hey, that's fine. You might hear something that softens stuff and shakes stuff up and allows you to release it and grow and, you know, turn you off to a new area. So that's why this channel exists. This video was long, but I didn't want to cut any of them because I felt like all the ones are valid. And there are even more I wanted to put in. Imagine that. But it's a conversation worth having. And I thought it was very interesting to look at rejection through the lens of the Black experience as it relates to everything that's been going on around. And like I said, as an FBA, I would be remiss if I didn't at least take time to address this. I hope it gives a little bit more volume to what this channel is. I'll be doing much deeper dives on different stuff. Not everything is just going to be like just the different topics and, you know, abandonment and intuition and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm going to do a lot more of that because there's a lot of value there. But we don't live in a static world. And I really do want to touch on just the real state of things and just how to bring us back to a higher level of awareness as we grow together and learn together through all of our junk. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for rolling with the Warrior Metaphysic. We would really like to know your thoughts about this video, if it challenged you in any way, if the different voices made you question things a little bit more, if it changed any of your perspective. Did it make you double down on some of your perspectives? And you know what the comment section is. I will see you in the next one. Peace out, warriors.